Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and today I wanted to make a ramble video sort of talking about my opinion of the Halloween event. Now, I don't want this to come off as too critiquing of the devs. If anything, I want it to be really understanding, but also a genuine, critique and kind of going over the event and why I think it's one of the it's probably, this is a harsh statement, probably the worst Halloween event I've ever played in PokeMMO, but that's not a bad thing, like not at all. And I'll go ahead and go over why I think this and why I think this is kind of how it happened and what happened. So I would give the event prior to the supplemental update. The supplemental update, which nerfed the Pumpkin boss and also added the Pump Cat mechanic, was a huge saver to the event, as that update usually is. For those that don't know, there's almost always a middle patch update during events like this, which is really cool to see. I feel like the devs are always super on top of that, which is awesome. Now, I do think that this event was a 4 out of 10 prior to that supplemental update, and I do think that that update pushed it all the way up to a 6 out of 10 as an event, which is good. It literally pushed it from I would say below average to bad, pushing bad event to a, average to decent event, I would say at 6 out of 10. The reason why I feel like this event is only decent is for a couple things. This event really has less vanities than I've ever seen in any event ever. And what I mean by that is a lot of the vanities, I made a video covering the vanities and talking about this a little bit. Pretty much all the vanities from this event are gift shop vanities, like the Pump Cat, the Trick Kitty, and the Flaming Motorcycle. They're all seasonal vanities, like the Flaming Motorcycle, like the top hat. Let's go ahead and show you the mini Halloween top hat. Really cool vanity, but it's a seasonal. What's the other seasonal? There's some other seasonal I'm forgetting. I can't remember. The Trick or Treat, that's what it is. The Trick or Treat bucket, another new vanity, quote unquote, but it's seasonal. Seasonal vanities aren't very special or cool or exciting. The reason why is because they come back every single year. So seasonal vanities can never really become good long-term investments. They're just not really unique or interesting. If you see a player with a seasonal vanity, you're like, oh, at least it goes with this outfit and it's a, coolish vanity, but it's seasonal. It's not very special. It's there's no seasonal vanity that's like a golden dragon mask, something like that that's super cool and super respected, like a scythe, right? There are cool, Flaming Motorcycle is a seasonal vanity. My favorite vanity in the entire game right now. But it's not unique. Everybody can just have it. It's not a difficult thing to obtain, which I think does add to some coolness of visuals of vanities. It's why humans like things like diamonds, like rare. It's why people buy name brand products at all. Things like Gucci, things like, not that I do that, but it's rare. It's harder to get, or, quote unquote rare. Obviously, they can, you know what I'm saying. It makes it's difficult, and scarcity is intriguing to humans, and I think the lack of vanities that aren't untradeable, that aren't seasonal, that aren't RP is really small. For those who don't know, there's only three vanities that are limited vanities. There's the mummy body wrap, the mummy head wrap, which is just one outfit. So if you even count that as two different vanities, you probably do, right? But yeah, so there's two vanities there, and there's the bat hat. And I love the bat hat, but that's it. Those are the three vanities that are limited to the sealed product, that aren't an RP gift shop vanity, that aren't seasonal, that aren't, I don't know, devalued in some way, untradeable. I love vanities like the bunny tail, things like the Koban, things like the Tamer's outfit, these really cool vanities that are really cheap. The bug's nest, or the bug net. Yeah, the bug's catcher net. There we go. Bug catcher's net, stuff like this. These are really cool vanities that are limited to certain things, and yeah, and it adds that, even though they're cheaper than these other items, I think it adds value to them, and it adds appreciation, from me at least. Maybe you're different, but you don't care. That's super fair. So I think there's less vanities than ever in this event. Now you could argue the vanities are much higher quality, which is super fair. The cats are obviously some of the highest quality vanities we've probably ever seen. The Flaming Motorcycle is probably one of the highest quality vanities we've ever seen. But other than that, I do think things kind of go downhill, and they're RP. So it's I would have loved to see also the lantern. Another thing to talk about. The lantern vanity, the ultra rare, is just super lacking. A lot of people aren't really interested in it, don't really care. So I don't know. I think the vanities are really lacking. Even though it's this event, it's crazy to say that the vanities are lacking because they literally introduced my favorite new vanity, the Flaming Motorcycle, but I do think they are. Just the lack of quantity, I think, does matter to me. But the reason why that's the case and why I want to talk about this in a video format is because it's the year of Johto. This is the Johto year. No wonder the devs had less time for vanities this year. They've been working on Johto all year. They've been working on the 11th anniversary event. That's a whole new event to make vanities for yearly, right? So they have to make, they might just be doing less vanities per event from here on out in PokeMMO. And maybe this was the first event to make that shift. And if that's the case, that's okay. I've just got to get used to that, right? So less vanities this event, but maybe that's just the new change, because we have the anniversary event probably coming up in November. We have the Christmas event in December. We have the Lunar New Year event in January. I've been saying over and over and over again, 4 events in 4 months is going to be unreal. It's going to be insane. So yeah, maybe that's why it makes a lot of sense. No wonder we have less vanities than ever. This makes total sense, right? So that's the Johto development, the more events than ever. Plus they promised, people might have forgotten, they promised some big mechanic, or I shouldn't say promised, but they hinted at rolling out and testing a big new game mechanic with the 11th anniversary event. For those who don't know, last year on the 10th anniversary event, they introduced alphas. Which introduced hidden abilities to the game. Introducing something as large as alphas as a mechanic, as something as ginormously impactful to PVM, PvP, whatever, right? As hidden abilities being brought to the game is crazy. The fact that something like that could be coming with the 11th anniversary event is just absolutely huge. So keep that in mind. I think it makes sense why, in my opinion, this event was lower quality. And even then, it was still a decent event. After the supplemental update, I still think it was like decent to good. If this was your first PokeMMO event, I feel like you probably had a good time. There's always those who will complain and say, oh, things are too hard. The pumpkin fight's way too hard. Everything's too hard. You can't do anything as a new player, which I think is... I get where they're coming from, and there is some truth to it, especially during the first half of the event. The first half of the event, there's a reason why they nerfed the Pumpkin. He was legitimately too hard. There was legitimately too much RNG involved. During the first half of the event, it was the hardest pumpkin fight that I've ever seen within PokeMMO, and it had the most RNG, but it also had the most skill expression, which I thought was kind of cool. So they were kind of moving in the right direction, but they just had to kind of tone it back, which they did. So I do think that this year... the pumpkin fight was the worst I've ever seen at the first half, but now it's arguably the best. I haven't played it enough yet, so maybe I don't want to make that claim. I don't know if that skill expression is still there, but they removed a lot of the RNG, and if they kept the skill expression with it, that would be really, really cool. And what I mean by skill expression was a lot of the pumpkin fight was adapting to whatever RNG happened. If something got surfed by a pump mage, you had to potion at the right time before the scythe would hit you. If something, and know what turn on phase 2 you could go for that free heal. If you got speed speed nerfed on phase 3 by the pumpkins, like wither ability or whatever, you had to make sure to either X speed or keep an X speed up or not double X special or do something to make up for that cat cookie or whatever it was. There's a lot of cool things that you could do to adapt to the RNG happening. Some stuff you just couldn't adapt to. Some of the RNG was like, oh, okay, well now I just lose, and that sucked. But that's why kind of the pumpkin was so critiqued in the early part, which it deserves to be. But every single event, there's always new players or people who just don't have the patience, which is understandable, that will complain about the pumpkin no matter how difficult it is. So you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. Like, oh, is it actually too tough? And I think this year it genuinely was. So that was cool to see. It's cool to see the change, the difference once again from like a 4 out of 10 events to a 6 out of 10. But I think I don't want to say it was too late. I think the timing was actually totally fine. But it was really funny to see. I think a really good telltale sign of how mediocre this event was during the early stages was day 2 of the event. Not only was I back to shiny hunting, day 2 of the event, I was back to shiny hunting. So was so many other people. Like, it was a joke in Team Mister. And obviously we're a shiny hunting team, a shiny hunting guild, right? But it was more than that. There was other teams doing it. There was other players, other communities, a lot of people. Day 2 of the event, after beating Pumpkin on easy mode for the first time, like doing all this basic stuff. Oh, back to shiny hunting, right? Like that's it. That now we're that's the event. It's day 2. Man, that was really crazy to see. I don't think I've ever seen. Usually, I've never seen that many people. Stop caring about the event that fast in my whole life. And that's just how it, maybe that's just unjustified, but that's just how it happened. That's what I saw anecdotally, right? So I don't know. I think this event is still, I think they really did save it in a lot of ways. Taking the score going from 4 to 10 to 6 out of 10 is a huge bump, like crossing over that 5 threshold. It literally went from bad, I would say, like lightly bad, to decent to good, which is a huge change. If I made this video before the supplemental patch, I probably would have been a lot more negative, but I think they really did fix a lot of things. But I still think that this Halloween event was probably the worst Halloween event I've ever seen, which is a good sentence considering it's a 6 out of 10. And then I would say that it makes a lot of sense why. I've already covered all the points. The development that's been going on this year, all the major updates, even like the PC getting that huge UI overhaul. The devs have been updating the game more than ever over the past 2 years. And I think it's because the player base has been so active. I think the game has jumped in popularity so much over the past 2 years. And I think the fact that the devs are responding by caring more about the game is a really, really good sign. You know, how many games do you see where like player base numbers jump up, they just kind of, you know, do the same stuff, right? Do the same routine, do the normal stuff. The PokeMMO devs are not doing that at all. They are seeing the players jump up and they are jumping up with them, getting excited, making more content, pushing it up. Like they're riding the wave, and it's so smart. I love you too, Denji. What's up, man? I appreciate you, dude. That's my general thoughts. That's pretty much coming towards the end of it. Just a ramble talking about my thoughts on the Halloween event. I do think it's a lesser good event, but that's a hilarious sentence when it's a 6 out of 10. I think I want to qualify that really heavily, right? Like, it's a hilarious thing to say. Oh, it's not, you know, it's the worst Halloween event I've ever seen. 6 out of 10, right? Like that's a really funny sentence. But the devs really did save a lot of it with that 4 to 6 jump. But now I'm just repeating the same thing. So hopefully this video was interesting. Hopefully it was entertaining. Hopefully it laid out my thoughts, your thoughts well. Leave feedback. Comments are really, feedback and getting the community's perspective on this event is really important. Just be nice, be polite. That's all I ask for. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Dislike if not. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos. Tons of stuff covering the Halloween events. Follow me on Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord's linked down below if you're interested in that. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the channel, there are financial links down below to do so. You never have to. My content will always be free, but it does just allow me more time to make videos and more, put more editing into it and stuff. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic one and play the Halloween event. Have fun. Peace, Reno.